Hey everybody, this is Murray back with you. I want to talk to you a few minutes about some important days coming up. Today is March the 1st, Saturday, March the 1st of 2025, and I'm having still drinking coffee. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff, folks. I want to talk to you a minute about the Alamo. The Alamo fell on March the 6th of 1836, and a lot of people, I guess, have got to the point where they don't particularly care about the Alamo. But to me, it's very important, and I want to share something with you. Now, I want to get. First of all, I want to talk to you about this book. Can you see it? It's 100 Days in Texas by Wallace O. Charlton. 100 Days in Texas. Now, he takes that time, days before, during, and after the fall of the Alamo. And he has gathered letters, journals, diaries, everything that he could find, and put it all into a chronological order of day by day during that event. Now, I don't believe we have this book at the library. I've got several, and I'm going to try to donate one to the local library here in Hallettsville, Texas. And you can order this from Amazon for less than $20. This is the absolute best book on Texas history and the Alamo, right here. Personal journals, letters, commands to the Army, written out. I mean, everything. So, if you're into Texas history, and a lot of the columns that I write for our newspaper, a lot of the information that I get comes directly out of this book. And I always give it credit when I use it. But I just wanted to take this time to show you this book and give you some idea about Texas history. Now, on this day, March the 1st of 1836, 32 brave men from Gonzales and this area, the Lavaca County River Basin, or back then it wasn't Lavaca County, let's just say Lavaca River Basin, because we had men from this area down in Lavaca County go and join the men at the Alamo with the 32 from Gonzales. These were the only men that came and answered Travis's letter for help. These 32, the only ones. And even though the Alamo was under siege, people were coming and going on a daily basis. So evidently the Mexican army wasn't real tight with security. But I have two things that I want to read to you, and it'll give you more of a idea of how things were. The first thing that I'm going to read to you is a letter. This is a letter from Isaac Millsaps to wife. That's how he's got it headed. It's written from Behar, which is San Antonio, the Alamo. He says, "My dear, dear ones, we are in the fortress of the Alamo, a ruined church that has almost fell down. The Mexicans are here in large numbers, and they have kept up a constant fire since we got here. All our boys are well. Captain Martin is in good spirits. Early this morning, I watched the Mexicans drilling just out of range. They were marching up and down with such ardor. They have bright red and blue uniforms and many cannons. Many cannons. Some here at this place believe that the main army has not come up yet. I think they are all here, even Santa Anna. Colonel Bowie is down sick and had to be to bed. I saw him yesterday and he is still ready to fight. He didn't know me from last spring, but he remembered Wash, which I guess was another man there. He tells me that help will be here soon, and that makes us feel good. We have beef and corn to eat, but no coffee. My coffee bag fell on the way here, and so I was not able to retrieve it. I have not seen Travis but 2 times since he told us all this morning that Fannin is going to be here early with many men, and there would be a good fight. He stays on the wall near his cannon, but mostly to his room. I hope help comes soon, because we can't fight them all. Some say he is going to talk some tonight, and if we fail here, get to the river with the children. Now, I don't know what river that Isaac Millsap's family was living on, but whatever, he told them to get to the river. I don't know exactly where they were at, so I won't even speak on that. Because if Santa Anna takes this fortress, and these are my words, and I'll go back to what he said. If it takes this fortress, Texas will be before the enemy. We get little news here from nothing. There is no discontent in our boys. Some are tired from loss of sleep and the rest. The Mexicans are shooting every few minutes, but most of the shots fall inside and no harm. I don't know what else to say. There is calling for all letters. Now, kiss the dear children for me and be well. God protect us all. Isaac. Then he adds a postscript. He says, if any men come through there, tell them no hurry, tell them to hurry with powder, for it is in short supply. I hope you will get this and know that I love you all. That was from Isaac Millsap, a soldier within the walls of the Alamo. He didn't say in his letter, but in other letters during this day, it was said that a norther was blowing and the temperature at night was like 33, 32, around freezing. So they're all huddled inside the walls of the Alamo and just huddled around campfires, and I'm sure that they were very cold. Then you take the Mexican army that was laying siege to the Alamo. Their soldiers were out in the open, sleeping on the ground or in tents. So they were very cold as well. You know, I include the Mexican army when I talk about this situation, because they were fighting, in their minds, they were fighting to defend their country from outsiders, the Texans. The Texans were fighting for independence from a tyrant, Santa Anna. The Texans had been totally happy to live under the Constitution of 1824. that was written and put forth by the Mexican government. But Santa Anna changed all that when he come into power. He started pressuring the Texans, having them arrested, locking them up. Stephen F. Austin went to him to try to negotiate, and he throwed him into a prison. And he was there for weeks before finally Santa Anna relented and let him go back to Texas. But that's a whole nother story. But just remember, you had men on both sides, and they were both fighting for things that they truly believed in. Now, I've got one more thing I want to read to you. And this is from William Barrett Travis to the president of the convention. Travis had no way of knowing that on March the 2nd, independence was declared by the Texas Congress, or the men gathered at Washington on the Brazos. So that's what Travis wanted. He wanted to be fighting under a true Declaration of Independence, but he probably died never knowing that was actually done. But this is his letter. This was written on March the 3rd. From the Commandant of the Alamo at Behar, William B. Travis. In the present confusion of the political authorities of the country, and in the absence of the Commander-in-Chief, which is Sam Houston, of course, I beg leave to communicate to you the situation of this garrison. You have doubtless already seen my official report of the action on February 25th. Now, I'm paraphrasing some of this so that it'll be clear to you folks that are listening and watching. Made on February 25th to General Sam Houston, together with the various communications heretofore sent by express, I shall, therefore, confine myself to what has transpired from that date. From the 25th of February to the present date, which is March the 3rd, 1836. The enemy have kept up a bombardment from 2 howitzers, one of 5.5 inch, and the other an 8 inch. These were sizable cannons, folks. They have produced a heavy cannonade from 2 large 9-pounders, which are really big, mounted on a battery on the opposite side of the river at a distance of 400 yards from our walls. Okay, during this period, the enemy has been busily employed in encircling us with entrenchments on all sides at the following distance, to wit, in Behar, 400 yards west, in La Valida, 300 yards south at the Powder House, 1,000 yards east to the south on the ditch, and 800 yards north. There are more cannons. Notwithstanding all of this, a company of 32 men from Gonzales made their way into us on the morning of the 1st, which is March the 1st that I'm recording today, 2025. So he says they made their way into us on the morning of March the 1st at 3 a.m. And Colonel J.B. Bonham, a courier from Gonzales, got in this morning at 11 o'clock without molestation. I have so fortified this place that the walls are generally proof against cannonballs, and I shall continue to entrench on the inside and strengthen the walls by throwing up dirt. At least 200 shells have fallen inside our works without having injured a single man. We have been so fortunate as not to lose a man from any cause, and we have killed many of the enemy, whose numbers are variously estimated at from 1,500 to 6,000. Now, from my research, and I certainly don't know if it's exactly correct, but this number of 1,500 to 6,000 in the Mexican army has gotten to a pretty round figure of 2,000. Most historians agree to that number. And I'll go on. He says, the spirits of my men are still high, although they have had much to depress them. We have contended for 10 days against an enemy whose numbers are variously estimated. And we said that before. And they are led by General Maris Sesma and Colonel Bartes, the aide-de-camp of Santa Anna, at their head. A report was circulated that Santa Anna himself was with the enemy, but I think it was false. A reinforcement of 1,000 men are now entering Bejar. Now, these are Mexican soldiers from the west, and I think it more than probable that Santa Anna is now in town, which was just across San Antonio River from the Alamo. Colonel Fannin, this is Colonel Fannin from the Texans Goliad Command, and Travis didn't know for sure what he was doing, but this is his words. Colonel Fannin is said to be on the march to this place with reinforcements, but I fear it is not true. So Travis had an idea that he wasn't coming, as I have repeatedly sent to him for aid without receiving any letters back. I'm paraphrasing that. Anyway, he didn't get any contact coming from Fannin. He says, Colonel Bonham, my special messenger, arrived at La Bahia 14 days ago, that would be Goliad, with a request for aid. And on the arrival of the enemy in Bejar 10 days ago, I sent an express to Colonel Fannin, which arrived at Goliad on the next day, urging him to send reinforcements. None have arrived. I look to the colonies alone for aid. Unless it arrives soon, I shall have to fight the enemy on his terms. I will, however, do the best I can under the circumstances, and I feel confident that the determined valor and desperate courage heretofore evinced by many men will not fail in the last struggle. And although they may be sacrificed, which indeed they were, to the vengeance of a Gothic enemy, the victory will cost the enemy so dear that it will be worse for him than a defeat. I hope your honorable body will hasten on reinforcements, ammunition, and provisions to our aid as soon as possible. We have provisions for 20 days for the men that are here. Our supply of ammunition is limited. At least 500 pounds of cannon powder and 200 rounds of 6, 9, 12, and 18-pound balls. 10 kegs of rifle powder and a supply of lead should be sent to this place without delay, under significant guard. If these things are promptly sent and large reinforcements are hastened to this frontier, this neighborhood will be the great and decisive battleground. The power of Santa Anna is to be met here or in the colonies, to rage, to suffer a war of desolation that would rage our settlements. A blood-red banner waves from the church of Behar and in the camp above us, in token that the war is one of vengeance against rebels that have been declared as such. That blood-red flag from Santa Ana meant no quarter. No quarter. Kill them all. That's what that blood-red flag meant. So he continues, Travis. He says that flag is on the church at Behar and in the camp above us, and is a war of vengeance, as I said before. Their threats have had no influence on me or my men, but to make all fight with desperation and that high-souled courage which characterizes the patriot who is willing to die in defense of his country's liberty and his own honor. The citizens of this municipality are all our enemies. So evidently he's talking about the citizens of Behar, San Antonio. We have but 3 Mexicans now in the fort. Those who have not joined us in this extremity should be declared public enemies, and their property should aid in paying the expenses of the war. The bearer of this will give you, your honorable body, a statement more in detail, should he escape through enemy lines. God bless Texas, ! Victory or death, 2 exclamation marks. Okay. So that's from this book, and I've gone on a lot longer than I intended to. 100 Days in Texas, Alamo Letters by William O. Charlton. I hope that you'll pick this up. And as we get to March the 6th, which is only a few days away, Santa Anna had told his men to prepare for battle and make sure all their weapons were in good shape. He said, especially the bayonets. Especially the bayonets, because he knew that this was going to get down to bloody hand-to-hand combat, and indeed it did. Indeed it did. The battle lasted for a mere hour. Pretty well at the beginning of the battle, Travis was at his station behind his cannon, and he took a bullet to the head, and he was killed instantly. Bowie later was in bed, and he fought them off with 2 pistols and his Bowie knife, according to history. So he died in that bed. Now this story of Davy Crockett swinging the butt of his rifle and dying that way is not necessarily true. That's something that we'd all love to believe. But after what research that I've done over the years, I honestly believe he was captured. And after he was captured, of course, Santa Ana rode in after it was all over with, so he didn't have to worry about getting shot. And he wanted to see all these men. And he made them pick out the Texans and show them to him. So from what I've read from a diary from one of Santa Anna's men, Davy Crockett was captured, and Santa Anna ordered his men to kill him. And again, what I read in this diary said that the ordinary soldiers, the ordinary Mexican soldiers, refused to do it. And he was hacked on and chopped up with swords from Mexican officers trying to gain favor with Santa Anna. But there again, true or not, this is from a journal. I don't know. Of course, later we know what happened at San Jacinto. And I failed to read one of the letters here from the Alamo of how many men, Mexican soldiers, died trying to take that fortress. And it was in the hundreds, folks. And there was one Mexican officer remarked, one more battle like this and we won't have an army. Can you imagine? 180 men approximately, give or take, did that much damage with muzzle loading rifles and swords and knives and whatever to this highly trained, disciplined army, well uniformed, well trained. This ragtag group of Texans fought them off, killed many, and died in those trenches at the Alamo. Think about this on March the 6th, folks. Think about it. Remember it. Because that's the way it happened. Thanks for watching. Remember Texas. And remember the Alamo. God bless, and I'll see you next time.